Blessings, blessings. Good evening, everyone. Happy post-emancipendence. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you once again for another family time. Welcome to everyone, including those via FB and YouTube Live on the Love 101 Facebook page and YouTube channel. Family time is about your issues and your relationships, your at home family, your community family, and your global family. Family Time is produced by Family Life Ministries, and our aim is to enable healthy families, which will lead to healthy nations. Stay with us and please join in. I am O'Neill Campbell. We just finished celebrating Jamaica's independence. It's in keeping with that celebration why we decided to look at growing independent children. As our topic today, what does it mean as a person to be truly independent? How were you raised to be independent? How are we raising our children to be independent? Are we? Some say that we can never truly be independent. Well, let's see how close to independence we can get. And while we do that, we want to hear from you. Tell us this. What do you do to teach your own child to be independent? WhatsApp your texts and voice notes, please no longer than 30 seconds, to 876 997 3125, or call the studio lines 876 968 8327 or 876 968 8328 to participate. And throughout the program, we'll share it. And remember, you can watch us live on Love 101 Facebook and YouTube. We'll be right back with my guest, Andre Allen Casey.
Life comes at you fast and it can hit hard. Apply for the Credit Union Prepaid MasterCard from CNWJ with chip and PIN protection. Need a card with a personal line of credit for emergencies? We have that. Need a card you can use to shop online for that must-have item? We have that. The community and workers of Jamaica Prepaid MasterCard. All the convenience of a MasterCard. Discover the benefits of belonging.
DJ Bongs, Digicel and make we rich together.
Make we rich together with Digicel. Just call 142 or dial star 142 $ from your postpaid phone for a chance to win your share of $42 million in cash and prizes. Enter to get $500 off your monthly postpaid bill and 10 international minutes to USA, Canada, and the UK. Each entry costs $100. From now until September 14th, make we rich together with Digicel. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
Fellow Jamaicans, there are children in our nation in need of a safe and loving Christian home. Family Life Ministries, in collaboration with the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, will train and support you as a foster family. This is one way of playing your part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. To find out more about the For the Child Foster Care Program, call 876-816-0889 today. This message is brought to you by Family Life Ministries in partnership with the Child Protection and Family Services Agency and Near Family Homes Canada.
Every weekday on Love 101, we give you a time to celebrate your family and friends inside Celebration Club. Call in and send birthday, anniversary, other special day greetings, or just hit up your friends just because. It's Celebration Club, and every first and last Tuesday, it's brought to you by Fontana Pharmacy. Fontana Pharmacy, so good inside. It's a Celebration Club, celebrating families and friends. That's the way love goes. Every weekday at 3:45 on the family station, Love 101.
Welcome back to Family Time on Love 101. And welcome to our special guest, Andre Allen Casey. Mr. Allen Casey is a counseling psychologist, radio presenter, motivational speaker, husband, and father. How are you doing, sir?
Can you hear me well? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Excellent.
So, how are you doing?
Well, all is well. I'm doing fabulously well.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Now, remember, we want to hear from you, our audience. So, answer this question, please. What do you do to teach your own child to be independent? WhatsApp your text and voice notes. Make sure it's no longer than 30 seconds to 876-997-3125. Watch us and comment live on Love 101 Facebook and YouTube, or call the studio lines 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328 to participate. And throughout the program, we'll share your thoughts. What does the word independent mean to you? What does it take to raise independent children? How important is it? And why do we do it? Quite interesting areas to focus on. So let's dive right in. So, Mr. Alan Casey, please tell me what is meant by independent in this particular context.
Well, independent here, first and foremost, I would want to say means that you need to know what to do, uh, when to do it, and how to do it,
Okay.
without bringing harm to yourself or to others. That's the first thing about independent that I like to put there, because sometimes as parents, if we want our children to become independent, then they need to know what to do, they need to know how to do it, and they need to know when to do it. And it is very important why so that, well, the other disclaimer is that they do not bring harm to themselves and also to others,
Right.
which then also teaches them to become responsible in relating in becoming independent. So that is what I would put out there in relation to that word independent.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to your tips as you go on, because trust me, I have two sons who are polar opposites. One, well, both have their independence, but the second one is, trust me, he's very, very independent. So I have to rein him in. So I'm looking forward to your expertise on this particular area. I think you're the right man for the job. Why should we raise independent children? Is the next thing I'd like to ask.
Well, by and large, what you want to do is to recognize that you will not always be with your children. You know, we cannot execute what is called helicopter style parenting, where we are literally hovering over our children. And so, because that is a fact, they will be in different environments outside of our nurture and caring. And so, you want to ensure that you would have prepared your children for the road, so to speak. You have to prepare them for the different experiences that they will be having, so that they'll be able to manage and navigate their own situation, their own circumstances, and even O'Neill, their their own battles. And this is why it is very important for us to raise independent children. But not only that, for also to get them to think, and to utilize wisdom, literally, to think for themselves, so that they can take themselves out of certain things, because you will not be able to teach them every last thing, literally. And so once they're into certain environments, they wouldn't need to learn to think on their own.
Got you. I can see why that's important. The following aspect can be detrimental at points if you go down the wrong road. So having that level of independence would kind of rein them in and not allow them to go where everyone else is going, kind of thing. So I can get where that is important, to give them that understanding of that independence. So from your years of experience, I mean, what are some different ways of raising independent children? What tips would you give?
Well, one of the first thing I'd want to put out there, well, if I'm going to put one, we're going to say a word, and you may want to come back to this word, but I do believe that you want to create in them what is called emotional intelligence. But I'll come back to that word.
Okay.
What I would say though, some of the tips that let us ensure that we um, allow our children to express their own thinking and their own minds. Sometimes as parents, we live vicariously to our children, and so our children literally become a little me or a mini me, so to speak. And if we're not careful, we kind of want to force our personalities and everything on them, and not allow our children to grow into their own and have certain experiences so that they can not only develop on their own, but even decide on their own who is it that I want to become. Now, by and large, I understand that we are products of our environment, and so the heredity from as far as heredity is concerned, we will be our children will be taking certain traits from us, and we
Right.
understand that. But let us not force them to have those traits or force it on them. So one
Yes.
way to help our children to become independent is to find out from them their own love languages.
Okay. Okay.
What do they like? Find out from them what kind of interest they have. Find out from them rather than telling them what to think, rather than telling them how to feel, rather than literally um, being a mirror. And the mirror here, where when they look to see their reflection, they are seeing yours instead. That's
Right.
what I mean.
If I may interject, I mean, I can't say it's easy to take those points and run it, because it's almost like you there's some part of it that wants to see them in you. So when you see certain things, you want to kind of tailor it according to, almost like you say, a mini me. But as you rightfully said, you want to, I guess you want to inculcate certain things that you learned that are good traits, but at the same time, as you said, allow that expression of independence to blossom, but it's just to kind of keep them within certain boundaries, which is, as I said, difficult to really do when you're kind of seeing things go off, and you're trying to restrain yourself and say, all right, allow them that freedom to explore and to learn and to grow. So it's a toss, I guess, in us as parents to allow that. But I can see where you're making very solid points in that. Any other tips before we get to, as you mentioned, the emotional intelligence?
Um, Another tip, as it relates to helping our children to become, raising our children to become independent, again, is to recognize that as our children grow up, they are going to, there's a, their likes and dislikes will change. And so we have to kind of grow up with them. We have to be
Okay.
careful that we do not treat them like treat the 5 year old like a 2 year old, or treat the 7 year old like a 5 year old rather, or treat the 12 like a 9 year old. And that's all I'm saying. We have to learn to grow up with our children and recognize that their minds and they're experiencing different things, that they're exploring and they are learning. And
Right.
so the education is not going to exclusively and solely rather come from you, which then means that they are going to develop a mind on their own and a thinking on their own. So you better learn to grow with them. If you don't grow with them, then they might end up resenting you.
Wow. All right. Amazing insight there. Um, Emotional intelligence. Could you give if you can, a definition of what that is, and how can we identify this in our children, or help to nurture the emotional intelligence?
Okay, excellent. I do believe that if we want to create independence in our children, then the number one thing we need to do is to teach them emotional intelligence. Is to what? To teach them emotional
Emotional
intelligence.
intelligence.
No, there are five components to emotional intelligence.
Okay.
While I may not get into all of them, but this much I will say. Emotional intelligence is the ability to identify and to manage your own emotions. Um, so first and foremost, it is the ability to identify and to manage your own emotions. Whose emotions? Your own emotions. If you want to have um, independent children,
Hmm.
then that's the first thing. What do I do? First, I have to identify the emotion that I'm having, And number two, am I able to manage it? Because if I'm not able to manage it, then I might find myself exploding. I might find myself reacting, when I should have responded.
Right, right.
And so you see, it is very important then, um, for us to inculcate that at a very early phase and stage in our children's lives about that emotional intelligence. But the definition of emotional intelligence doesn't end there. So not only are we saying it is the ability to identify and to manage your own emotions, um, but also in a limited way the emotions of others. In other words, emotional intelligent children not only recognize and manage their own feelings,
Yes.
they are also able to understand the emotional state of others.
Okay.
So can you imagine though, you're able to do that? If you're not carefully able to manage even children too, your own peers, because you understand their context. And what we are stating here, by the way, is not an easy feat because most adults find this very difficult to
I
attain
was
it.
I was just gonna say that. Trust me, because it's a battle for me. It's a battle
Right.
for me. I mean, I completely understand what you're saying, but imagine me at my age and stage still struggling or having issues there at many a times, and yet a child growing and learning still, as I said, with their trainers on and trying to have this intelligence that you're speaking of. It's certainly, it's almost like you say, it's miraculous that many can grasp it at an early age and be able to understand, as you say, not only where they're at, but where their peers are at, and try to understand even their parents. Like for example, if I blow the top, my child will answer, oh daddy, kind of thing. And so it's just amazing what you have to grasp and understand in terms of trying to have your, not only, as you said, your emotional intelligence, but also that of someone else. So that's just amazing. All right. So I hope you have not forgotten to tell us what you do to teach your own child to be independent. WhatsApp, text, and voice notes, no longer than 30 seconds, please, to 9973125. Watch us and comment live on Love 101 Facebook and YouTube, or call the studio lines 876-968-8327 or 968-8328 to participate. Also, I'm encouraging you to tell a friend, tell them about us on Facebook at FLM Family Life Ministries. Follow us on Instagram at FLMJA and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA. The numbers for the FLM head office are 876-920-1034 or 876-926-8101. It is 5:45. Well, we're just past at 5:48 is the time signal. So let's jump to something else. Recognizing the emotional intelligent child. And before getting to that, well, yes, let's shift to that state. I don't know if you had something else you wanted to bring in before we get there.
No, not necessarily, but I think it's a good continuation since we have kind of give a working definition of what emotional intelligence looks like.
Okay.
So like how we know what emotional intelligence speaks to, then the next, I believe you're correct. The next obvious question then would be, so how do I recognize this in my child? Because by and large, the question is, you know, um, can I inculcate it? Is it already there? How do I recognize, that my child possess or there's a failure to possess emotional intelligence? So I think that's quite an appropriate question.
And before you go ahead, Mr. Allen Casey, the other thing is, if we're seeing that, help me Lord to recognize that is lacking, or or so forth. That's the first thing. So I have to be able to recognize it. But then if I'm seeing that where it's deficient, how then am I able to help to nurture that in the child where it might be lacking, and helping them in their development?
Well, I mean, well, example. Now that I'm going to go straight to that question,
Yeah,
I'm going to answer both questions in one. Excellent
not a
question.
problem.
Um, Number one, being able to identify and talk about one's own feelings. That's how you not only put it in your child, but if you find that your child cannot express themselves, they cannot talk about the feelings. Because remember what we spoke to in relation to emotional intelligence. It is where a person is able to recognize
Hmm.
and manage their own emotions and or feelings. So the first thing then the child can imagine your child cannot is not able to articulate whatever feeling he or she is having.
Right.
It can become quite problematic. So some parents would say, "So warm tea, tell warm
Yeah.
tea," and all the
Yes.
child will, I cry, I cry, I cry, I cry,
Right.
I cry.
Right.
So the parent is like, I don't know what, and then the parent become frustrated and either leave the children and say them and even call the child miserable.
Right. Right.
Right, because of the parents frustration, that of course. So
Right.
what we're trying to say here, so that this is why we want to reach a phase and a stage where at minimum where the child is able to express, share, talk, communicate. I'm not saying talking is the only way to do so, but to
Right.
communicate the kind of feelings. So let's say the finger is hurting them, and as a mommy, and they hold up their hand and they want you to cool it. So they have communicated to you that, hey, I'm having these feelings.
Right.
And so whatever pain or happiness they are having, it is important for you to validate it. It is important for you to say, "Hush, man, this hurt you, baby," and let mommy kiss it or whatever. Let daddy rub it for you or what have you.
Hmm.
Why? Because so that they know that if I'm having any kind of discomfort, I can come to you for comfort.
Right.
If I'm having any kind of discomfort, I can come to you for comfort. Okay? And look at how you're responding to them. Now, as they get older, they don't need to for you to kiss it and all those things. They can just say, listen, I'm having this issue. So I am so happy, or I am angry, or even I'm angry at you. I'm so sad.
Right.
And so they're able now to identify the specific feeling that they're having.
Right.
Because if they're not able to identify it, then you are at a disadvantage in helping them to overcome it, because you do not understand the pain they are experiencing. So that's the first thing. But not only that, um, understand that the feeling that the feeling um, speaks to their direct thoughts and behavior. Understanding that what feelings direct thoughts and behavior. So if they're having a particular feeling, understand that there's going to be an attending response, or correction, attending behavior to that feeling. So you have to understand that and accept that too.
Yeah.
If I'm sad, I cry,
Right.
and it's okay to cry because you're sad.
Got you. I think a couple things there. It's, even though I shouldn't say, well, I'm trying to formulate everything because it's almost like a couple things coming together, clashing. So in one instance, all right, let me give an example. It's almost like when a child is not able to walk and talk, you're urging them to walk and talk. But as soon as they're able to walk and talk, you're saying to them, sit down and be quiet, kind of thing. So I bring that up to say that um, nurturing the emotional intelligence almost can be a bit overwhelming from just experience and things. So when they say, I'm angry at you, I'm upset with you, from a child, that can be a bit offensive, might sound offensive. But I mean, if we the first thing to do would be trying to get to lash at them and say, basically, don't say that, be quiet. But I can also see when not allowing them to express themselves in that way truthfully, but as best as they can, then they're going to shut down, because eventually they're not going to want to express themselves. So it's, again, us allowing that child to being humble enough to allow that child to speak and express that truth, and keeping them in the guidelines of respect and everything, of course. But that is them expressing themselves, and it's just to kind of guide that. But we have to, as you're expressing, allow them to say what they're really feeling. So if they're sad, as you mentioned, say they're sad, say why they're feeling the hurt, but not belittle them, but really kind of guide them in making it healthy. Is that kind of the areas in which you're speaking to that we as parents have to understand?
Um, yes, by and large, I want to say that this is a little thing that I want to tweak here.
Yes.
I would like to say that because we do not understand how to express ourselves,
Right.
we become. That's why if a child says to us, "I'm angry at you,"
Right.
it is not us to feel offended.
Right.
We must be happy that our child has communicated. You see, oftentimes we don't understand the difference between expressing and exposing. And so, if our child is expressing how they're feeling to us, we should not let them feel badly for so doing.
Right.
But the reason why we might feel offended, it is because we lack emotional intelligence.
We're emotionally bankrupt,
And,
basically. We don't have we're lacking in that area, which is that's what the other thing I was gonna bring up first, and I kind of went to something else. But as you said, especially like the whole thing about men and the emotions don't show and all of that, it's kind of just crazy. We have to change that narrative,
yes, excellent. Let me just point out one more issue in one more thing in relating to how do we recognize emotional intelligence. So we said
Sure.
we have to teach them to recognize the emotion. Number two, to express the emotion. Number three, that to develop the ability to control and redirect or reform or reframe the feeling.
Yes.
And this can take time and practice, of course. So, in other words, just because I'm angry, do I have to behave? Is it that my attending response has to be offensive?
Right. Right.
And so sometimes when I'm angry, I want to hit, but hitting is not okay. So I will stomp my feet and say I'm angry instead. And all I'm just doing, I'm not saying that's the best option either. But you're giving them an outlet
Right.
to release the anger rather than hurting someone else or even themselves.
Got it.
So if they're angry, you're giving them the permission to express it. We're not saying you must buckle it up, not at all.
Right.
You say stomp your feet, right, and say I'm angry, not hit. Stomp your feet and say I'm angry, right? Because they need that place and that arena to share that. I'm frustrated right now, and I'm going to go calm. I'm going to go and calm. I'm going to calm myself down so I don't throw something at you.
Right.
All I'm just saying here is because honestly, we see that when children are frustrated, we see them take up things and they throw. They throw it at their parents, they throw it at their friends, they throw it at their teachers, whatever. Right. And then because we do not understand or even allow them to express themselves, we see that as rude and impertinent. And then, of course, corporal punishment is our first means to correction, which I am saying, if we knew or gave them the arena to learn to express themselves, or gave them or to redirect their feelings in a way that still expresses the anger, but it doesn't bring harm to someone else, or to be rude to someone else. If we as parents continue to recognize that is our responsibility to our children, then by and large, they'll be in a better place as it relates to their emotional intelligence.
All right. Absolutely wonderful first part there. You have been listening to and watching Family Time on Love 101, Facebook, YouTube, and Facebook. It's produced by Family Life Ministries. What do you do to teach your own child to be independent? Tell us via WhatsApp, text, and voice notes, no longer than 30 seconds, to 876-997-3125 on the Love 101 Facebook page, or call the studio lines 876-968-8227 or 8 to participate. We're also on Facebook and YouTube Live. We want to hear from you. Don't go away. We're going to continue talking about growing independent children. We'll be right back.
Livewell Pharmacy has many services for diabetics. Stop by for your free blood sugar machine while stocks last. The time by Livewell Pharmacy is
6 p.m. on Family Radio Love 101.
Fellow Jamaicans, there are children in our nation in need of a safe and loving Christian home. Family Life Ministries, in collaboration with the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, will train and support you as a foster family. This is one way of playing your part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. To find out more about the For the Child Foster Care Program, call 876-816-0889 today. This message is brought to you by Family Life Ministries in partnership with the Child Protection and Family Services Agency and Near Family Homes Canada.
Coming up on Tuesday, August 10 inside the Morning Watch, to trim or not to trim, examining the alleged trimming of a Rastafarian by a police officer, and the staging of a gospel concert within a pandemic, evaluating last Saturday's 658 Fest. That's the Morning Watch, Tuesday, August 10 at 7 o'clock, with host Reverend Dr. Dallin Toussaint, and it to be live on the family station Love 101.
Trelawney. I Love Summer is here.
Let's get up and go. Time to explore.
It's here! I love summer!
The time you have been waiting for is here.
Don't miss out on the exciting features and engaging discussion.
As Love 101, the family station goes through the nation,
Highlighting people, places, and the peculiar promises of Jamaica land we love.
It's I Love Summer. You won't be bored.
You will laugh and play.
You will worship and pray.
You'll be educated and edified.
Don't miss a beat.
I love summer. It's time to explore.
Welcome back. It is approximately 3 minutes past the hour of 6. You are tuned to Love 101. This is Family Time, brought to you by Family Life Ministries, FLM. FLM provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Listen out for our numbers in Kingston and Portmore at the end of this program. Remember, we're FB and YouTube Live, so tune in to the program via the Love 101 Facebook page and YouTube channel. Counseling psychologist Andre Allen Casey is our special guest. Sir Allen Casey.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Can
sir.
you hear me?
I can
Okay,
hear
you're
you.
hearing me.
Yes.
All right, the man with the bright smile. Appreciate you so much and for all the knowledge that you've delivered so far. And we're just gonna try to get some more nuggets from you before we wrap this afternoon. So let's continue on that path regarding emotional intelligence. Now you wonderfully expressed what emotional intelligence is. Could you tell us what it is not?
Okay. Emotional intelligence. That's a good question, and here's why. Because sometimes, remember, if the objective is to create independence in our children, and emotional intelligence, by and large, says, I'm going to teach my child to think on their own, to express their feelings in a particular way, and that they will not be punished for so doing, and that they will learn even how other children are thinking and feeling, and relate to them in an effective way. That is emotional intelligence, And once we're able to create those things in our children, then they become independent, even and they will bring that same level of independence into adulthood using emotional intelligence. But as a child, what emotional intelligence does not agree with or does not accept, what it does not accept, it does not give children the freedom to be impertinent. It does not give children the freedom to be insolent, to be brazen, and to be disrespectful.
All
So
right.
just because I'm able to identify my feeling, it don't mean that everything, just because I feel it, I'm going to do it.
All right.
Okay, that's quite contrary
Hold
to
that thought.
emotional
Hold that
intelligence.
thought. So excellent point to pause on. All right. So back to the studio. I think we have a couple comments, a voice note and a WhatsApp. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, family time. I hear the question and I just want to get right to it. As a single mother, what did I do with my two boys? From them around 8 and 10, they are 2 years apart. I explained to them that when they become a man, they will not be living with me. So what I did, I gave them stuff. They have their room, and I start to teach them. Me, they say woman can't teach boys to be a man, but I start to teach them, cooking, cleaning, washing, all of that, how to iron them clothes and all of that. And at the end of the day, when they become man, reach certain age, and they were always heated out the pot, I start to separate things in the home where it was three sections of the home, and each one respond to see them own areas. And during that time, I help one to help them to buy them grocery, who use the stove for pay off for the gas, and I start to train them. After I train them and they were ready to stand on their feet, I got my house and I move and leave them. Now they are living with themselves and them spouse. To God be the glory. And doing very well too. And I give them all the furniture they have, get them with them license. I help them to stand. I didn't just leave them. I did like a eagle. I leave the I get them, catch them when them fall, and all of that.
Excellent.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's it. Okay, thought there was another message coming in. Okay, here we go. Uh, so this is via Facebook. Okay, so that was a voice note on WhatsApp. Facebook message says from Patricia Taylor, give them pay, their school fees at the bank. Okay, so give them the money basically to pay their school fees at the bank. Learn to make decisions on their own. Let them learn to wash their clothes. Okay, so pretty much similar, Dr. Allen Casey, to what the mother on the voice note was saying, that teaching them things from early, they learn that independence, washing, cooking, cleaning, etc., so that they have that in the bank and are able to use that as they get older. What say you about the two shares from the voice note from the mother with the 8 and 10-year-old at the time, of course, 2 years apart, now grown and she said doing well, and also the message that just came in via Facebook?
Um, the first comment. Oh, by the way, it's Mister, not Doctor.
Oh, sorry. I wonder if I'm speaking something.
But seriously, the voice note was, that lady was amazingly on par, amazingly on par. I mean, two thumbs up to not some things, but everything that she said. In my estimation, no, in my estimation, I couldn't have said it better. I don't have anything to add to what she says.
Excellent. Excellent.
And teaching them to save is the only thing I would say, to save, to be responsible. And the other one on the other person on Facebook stated about what some of those responsibilities can look like. The only little thing that we might need to be mindful of is that everything must be age appropriate. You have to be careful that you don't try and turn your children into men. And that's what I said earlier. Don't treat the 7-year-old. If the person is 5, don't treat them like 7. Or if they are 7, don't treat them like 5. Treat them within their age, and do not try to grow them up too fast. you know, as soon as them reaching the diapers, you can't
Right.
wait until them start walk. You can't wait until you can't wait, and you're on this. We are in this hurry to get them to
Yes.
reach at a certain stage and age of their lives.
Up
No,
and
man.
out, man. Up and out of the house. That's what.
Right? So allow them to grow on their own, and you grow with them and just teach them age appropriate responsibilities. That's what I would
Got
say.
you. Got you. Appreciate that. And thank you for the WhatsApp comments and our voice notes and also the Facebook comments. Please continue to share and we'll try to squeeze them in before the end of the program. So, Doctor, here we go again, Doctor. There's something going on here, Mr. Alan Casey. I think you need to go and do some quick studies and get that doctorate. But Mr. Alan Casey, picking up from the point that you spoke about with the emotional intelligence or what it is not. You have a couple more points I do want to bring to the table for us.
All right. Yes. So we mentioned that it is not where children have the freedom to be rude,
insolent.
Right. Emotional intelligence does not give our children the right to do what they want, when they want, and how they want. No. So sometimes because of our parenting style,
Right.
some parenting style is what is called child-centered.
Right.
And because it's so child-centered, then the child makes the decision and the parents just kind of follow.
Yeah.
Right. But that's not emotional intelligence. Nor does it speak to rather dismissing context and content and compassion, those three C's. It is not to dismiss what content or context and compassion.
Right.
So that does not speak to. It's quite the contrary with emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence says, I want to hear your context, I want to hear your content, and I'm prepared not only to be compassionate, but I want you to execute compassion also. And finally, emotional intelligence does not does not replace common sense. I probably shouldn't say that. That's probably not nice.
But guess what? Sometimes that is one of the key things, because we know what we say in Jamaica parents about common sense. But please expound on that if you can. Because sometimes there's a rigidity, and
I can get myself in problem, but I can say it does not. Emotional intelligence does not replace what common sense. And let me just give this statement, and I'm not going to go further than that, since I might get myself in problem. What do I mean? Just because my 5-year-old wants to drive does not mean I should give them the keys.
Yeah. Excellent analogy.
Okay.
I don't think you'll get in any trouble for that.
It does not replace common sense. So in other words, just because my child cry for this and cry for that and what have you, means everything them ask for, you're going to give it to them. You too must recognize that, hey, no. I'm not a shopkeep.
Right. Definitely.
So that's what I mean by that.
Excellent.
And might I quickly add to,
yes,
and for them to learn to think on their own, they must be able to reason out things on their own. It's not where they're not going to have to come to mommy and come to daddy every minute and say, what should I do when somebody what should I? So sometimes if you want them to become independent, you're not asking them not to come to you, but also if they come to you and say, ask you, then you use it as a teaching opportunity to say to them, okay, what do you think you could have done? Right? For them now to decide, to start to decide and to think on their own that if a circumstance come like this or come to me again in this way, then this is something that I can do on my own, because I may not have the nurturing of mommy and daddy to guide me or to navigate my choices.
Right. I must hold my hands up. My wife is excellent at applying that. I'm still in the early learning stage, but thank God for her. So that is a key point. Appreciate that. All right, so let me remind you of our social media question. What do you do to teach your own child to be independent? During this break, WhatsApp your text, voice notes, no longer than 30 seconds, to 9973125. Post on the Love 101 Facebook page, or call the studio lines at 876-968-8327 to participate. I'm O'Neill Campbell, and I'm here with Andre Allen Casey. I have the tendency to call him Doctor, but he's reminding me that it's Mr. Alan Casey. All right. We go to a quick break, or do we continue? Right ahead. All right, let me go right ahead. So let's jump to another aspect, Mr. Alan Casey, and still centered around the emotionally intelligent child, of course. But just before that, parents raising emotionally intelligent children, and we have a few points that we want to kind of lift out. Talk and listen. So this is how parents should be raising their emotionally intelligent children, and I want you to kind of touch on these points. Talk and listen, respect and don't minimize, play, discipline without shame, emotion, coaching, and empathy, and books. Let's take it from the top. Talk and listen.
Okay, you might have to remind me of each of them. So
Not a
talk and
problem.
listen.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so talk and listen. Well, one of the first things, if we want to as parents to raise emotionally intelligent children, again, for them to become independent, we have to have conversations with them, and where they will be having conversations with us. But I do believe listening is such a critical aspect that unfortunately sometimes as parents we fall short on that. As a
Right.
matter of fact, we know how to do the talking. The question is, do we know how to do the listening? And if we listen short, then do not be surprised if our children become short with us. Okay, if we listen to them short,
Ouch. Yes.
then do not be surprised if our children become what? Short with us. You
Got
know,
you.
because we don't listen, and a lot of times, and that's why we said emotional intelligence does not mean no context, no content, and no compassion. And so this is where now you need those three C's. Talk and listen then means you are prepared to understand your child's context,
Context.
okay, that you're supposed to, not only the context, but also the content.
Right.
So context and also the content.
Content.
So the information that they're sharing. So you need to hear why they're having this issue, and where is it coming from. Listen to the information that they're sharing with you, and then be prepared to have compassion. That's a part of the listening. It's active listening. It is checking understanding. It's saying to your children, should I understand you to be saying so and so and so? And yes, that's what I'm saying, because sometimes they may say something and they may not be able to articulate it the right way. So you ask them back a question so
Right.
that you say, so that they can, so that you have a clearer understanding of what is it they are trying to communicate to you, and what you are also trying to communicate to them. Talk and listen, very important. What was the other one?
Respect and don't minimize.
Whoa, respect. Here we go again with the respect. Because we fall short in emotional intelligence, O'Neill, then unfortunately, children must be seen and not
I'm not
heard.
heard. Yes.
So you have no right to talk to me that way. You have no right. You have no right. And so while there is some truth to that, there's some truth to that. By and large, as they get older, they are going to be exercising their rights. even if we don't believe that
They
they're
have
doing it the right way.
right, or they have any. We don't think they have any rights.
Right? And so it's but a lot of children, no, don't go about saying in an effort to try to engender respect that you do not, that you minimize discipline.
Right. Got you.
So do not discard discipline because you want
Engender respect.
to
Garner
generate respect.
Got you.
I am saying here is that we have to learn to draw the line and recognize that our children are not our friends. That's right, not your friend. you know. So
Carefully up, you're stepping on some corns there.
well, yeah, well, it's the truth though. You're not your friend. It's a different kind of relationship. And a
Right.
matter of fact, um, if you ever hear what they are saying to their real friends about you, maybe you unfriend them. Okay.
Blocked.
Okay. So I'm just kind of saying here that so to get the respect, you have to know your own value system. Your I'm going to use this word, your price of admission. You know, in other words, what you're saying is that here are my rules, here are the regulation, here are the terms of reference and conditions, and and I stand with my principles, and this is what I'm going to share with you.
Got
um,
it.
I invite you at best to be obedient to it, so that we can have harmony in this one place together.
Got it.
So that is the respect and
Appreciate that.
yeah.
And so that's respect and don't minimize. Play. Fast approaching the rap. So let's
Okay.
try to get through these next ones.
All right,
Play.
play. I mean, have fun with your children, man. But in having fun with the children, you have to also it is not what is funny to you and for you, is what they find to be fun. So sometimes you, because you're enjoying yourself, and you bring them into an arena, and the children are bored like daylight saving time. They're like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, while you enjoy yourself, them asleep.
Right.
I'm saying this to folks: if you bring them in an arena for you to have fun, nobody must be sleeping. That's all I can say on that one.
And I can tell you, one of my sons, he doesn't mince his words, so to speak, in terms of when he's bored, he's like, oh, I'm so bored. He's ready to express that. All right, the next one is discipline without shame.
Yes, discipline here without shame says that um, you can speak strongly and firmly about something that you believe in, um, but at the same time, your child must know what is your motive. I think motive goes a long way in the child accepting the discipline.
Yeah.
If the child believes that if the child does not believe in your motive, then they are going to feel that the discipline was
Unjust.
unjust.
Hmm.
If they believe in your motive, even if they didn't like it, they recognize its value. And
Got it.
so we say we need to be a little bit more consistent where that part is concerned. That the idea here is that even if I execute punishment, it's not a put down.
Got it.
It is not a put down.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that, because at times we're quick to apply the discipline and don't explain the context, as you said, and that's generally has been my case. But I can understand if you give them the context as to why you did X, you broke this, that, or the other, and so you're being disciplined for that, as opposed to just applying it. And as I said, that there will be an indifference. They'll be like, I'm just being punished, so they don't have the context as to why, and that will cause that division or separation. So I understand that, and I completely understand there. I appreciate
Can I
that
can
as
I
well.
can I just squeeze in this other one
Sure,
too?
go ahead.
After you
Yes.
discipline them, you must be prepared to be compassionate, man.
Console. Hmm.
Console. Do not discipline them and then vex with them. It's shame that after you discipline them, then you go vex with them. Where you vex with them for? Because you still feel bad? No. Them game feel worse.
Got you. Got you. All right. Next on the line on the list is emotion, coaching, and empathy.
Okay. Let me because of the time, so let me just quickly simply just put in these four words or terms or sentences that
Got you.
speaks to emotional coaching um, and empathy. Empathize with soothing words and affection. Number one. Number two, help your children label the emotion. So what we're doing, we are coaching, emotional coaching and empathy. That's what we're doing right here. So I'm giving us the steps, folks. So number one, empathize with soothing words and affection. That's the first thing. Number two, help children to label the emotion, and we went to that earlier, where
Yes.
identify what feeling you are having. Number three, offer guidance on regulating the emotions. What do I mean? Just because you feel angry, it don't mean so you have to throw something. You don't have to hit. You could probably just stamp your feet instead and say, I am angry. Or you can find something else. You can have a conversation with the child, even if they are shouting a little bit. You say, not so loud, inside voice, but still I'll give them the freedom to express themselves. Um, Number four, set limits and teach acceptable expressions of emotions. And finally, teach problem solving skills.
Got it.
These are the five ways in which we can exercise emotional coaching and empathy.
All right, thank you so much. I think we have a couple more comments we want to quickly squeeze in before we go. Ready to share that with me, producer? Okay, thank you. Winsome Palmer Lawson says, I'm teaching to cook, bake. He does every Saturday, among other things, including saving. I have seen this redhead Weller. I've seen 7 children, and all of them have chores. Teach them to do everything around the home. Teach them to be responsible with manners and respect. I asked them, what if I am not here? What would you do? All right, and those are the comments. Thank you. Thank you to our those listening and watching. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, so any last quick point before we go?
Well, just to say that, you see, get your child and your children into the habit of reading. Reading books that are storylines and characters that express a range of emotions from difficulties to triumphs. Talk about stories on how characters were feeling and thinking and deciding. That's what I would say as far as books, if to the parents, of course.
Gotcha.
But by and large, that we hope that what we shared here will definitely let our parents recognize the importance of inculcating emotional intelligence so that our children can truly become independent.
Thank you so much, Mr. Andre Allen Casey. Appreciate you so much. All right. Thanks for being here with us. If you have questions of a personal nature or are concerned about a friend or family member, call us at Family Life Ministries. For our center in Portmore at 117 Cecile Avenue, call 876-939-7917. For counselors in Kingston and other parts of the island, contact our head office at 920-1034 or 876-926-8101, and we will connect you. Remember, if you or someone you know would like counseling on dealing with any issue in family, relationships, or just everyday life, please contact the Family Life Ministries counselor. Note that appointments can only be made by calling the offices. Otherwise, to keep up to date with what's happening with FLM and our programs, find us on Facebook at FLM Family Life Ministries, on Instagram at FLMJA, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries FLMJA. Before we leave you, here is this evening's verse. 1 Peter 2 verse 16. Live as people who are free, not using your freedom as a cover-up for evil, but living as servants of God. Join us again next week at 5:30 p.m. on Love 101 FM, FB and YouTube Live, via the Love 101 Facebook page and Love 101 YouTube channel for another informative program. Thanks again to our very special guest, Andre Allen Casey. Thanks also to our show producer, Kathy Gale, Open Door Communications, studio facilitator, Nissan Williams, and of course, you. Stay well, stay blessed, stay safe. I am O'Neill Campbell. Take care.